Hello, team. It's time for the Daily Detangler. And good morning. Detangler here. And I'm going to talk about regaining traction. I thought it would do that because it's after the holiday. and wasn't exactly sure where I would take this today. So one of the things that I was doing was trying to get plugged back in and get focused. So talk about just collecting inputs, gaining momentum, and then the idea of prioritization. But first, accelerated catalyst time, ACT time zone. Catalyst is in his own time zone, and it also stands for accelerated client time. And I think clients are in their own time zone as well. They don't really care about vacations, and they got stuff to do, right? I'm not saying Catalyst doesn't care about vacations, but he's got stuff to do, and he's on accelerated client time. And the phenomenon there is a day is a week and a week is a month. So since Friday, there's been 3 days that have gone by, and it kind of feels like 3 weeks. And then I guess you could say an hour is a day, and it feels like that because of the speed factor. That's what it feels like to me anyway. So um, I'd like Catalyst to weigh in on that. Does that speed thing feel about right? Does a day feel like a week, and does a week feel like a month? Because that's what it feels like to me. And I just took a random inventory. This is the organized view of it, but what he's been talking to me about are things like situations, and what are those? And we've got our capabilities work that he started off, and then obviously there's client work. He's been talking about the questioning model and the Stone Soup mini series that came out over the weekend, and the concept of a relay race, and just how do we hand things to each other and give each other inputs that we need, and then how do we drive outcomes, and how do we align to those outcomes. And I think where he lives is in this space of doing the right things and doing those things right. And the right things are by design and necessity, things that require me to rethink and or to engage differently because of the nature of what we're doing. In other words, if we did what I expected, we would end up in the same old, right? So there is a different and unique thing that we're trying to do. So we get different and unique inputs on ACT time, right? And that's a symptom of VUCA, and VUCA is driving these. So in response to the environment, response to our clients, the Catalyst has accelerated client time. We get all these inputs, and how do I wrestle with that, and how do I process that, and what does that mean? What does that look like? Well, he talks about speed. He talks about the team. He talks about being disciplined, being structured, right? So what do those things mean in responding to VUCA? And how do we do that quickly? What can I do to enter into the week on some sort of right path or best path to help respond and engage? So one thing that comes to mind is, we're like sharks, and our team is like a shark, and a shark has to keep moving because every step forward does matter. And where are we headed? Well, we're focused on the outcome. And for me, there's a lot of detail in that, but how do I not sweat that? How do I stay focused on the right things and not get overwhelmed with the complicatedness, right? And our shark is hungry, and it needs to keep moving. And my perspective matters in that, right? Am I a goldfish pretending to be a shark? Is our shark above the water? Is that what we look like to everybody? because we're trying to be shark-like. Am I doing what I need to be doing to help the team be a shark? And then what else can I be doing? And I had a great call yesterday where Catalyst was connecting some dots on some of the things that I had been doing and shared how it's been helpful. And that's really cool. So how do I put the shark fin on and engage? So that means, I think about oftentimes in a time like right now where I'm trying to re-engage after a long weekend, how do I connect to what matters? What matters now? What matters right now? How do I align my approach with the team's approach so that I can be additive? How do I come in integrated, if you will, and not create additional work or create new terminology and things like that, which I have to do better on. How do I improve and constantly improve, right? These detanglers are in that vein, and asking myself, why is Catalyst focused on that, right? That's one of my areas to focus in on and improve so that he's not a broken record. Right, there's a reason for that. And then how do I create ongoing impact and by what I do? Well, the first thing for that is to erase those questions and put we in. How do we connect to what matters? How do we align? How do we improve? And how do we create? And then what's my role in that? I can't create the shark impact by myself. The team is the shark. If I'm a goldfish, what can I do? And then how do I plug into the we? Because the we is greater than the me. And as I think about re-engaging and getting back up to speed, just recentering that and rethinking about that helps me figure out what to do. But that's still pretty broad, and I get, okay, I understand it. I understand all these inputs. I understand that what we need to do, and I understand that the team is greater than me, and I understand that there's a lot I can do. There's a lot of choices I can make. I can literally do anything. What's the best thing to do? So I get my detangling kind of scorecard out, and I think through, well, what's my primary tangle in this? And when I look at it, they're all in as I've shared, the idea of the tangles are they're in this idea, this blend of doing the right things and doing those things right. So stratification. They're also in the space of moving from me to we. So how do I plug into the team? So when I look at that view, I take my scorecard out here, and these are the tangles that I've been trying to clarify. And I think to myself, well, today, what is my challenge, right? So today, am I, focused on or struggling with the idea of, service, where am I struggling with tapping in to the team? Or am I struggling with contribution? Am I not being able to understand what to build? I think that usually comes up, but what I found that it's a is a precursor to that, which is around prioritization and what to do next. That's my biggest tangle. So that's what I focused on today is, of all the things I can do, what's the best thing to do? And how do I prioritize what I'm going to do for the Daily Detangler, but also, as I get started this week. And then obviously the work that I do to prioritize will inform the contributions that I make. So this week, this is my primary tangle. I try to take action now. I'm trying to move the detanglers into taking action and doing something with it, and then producing some sort of C slide, right, from that. So in today's kind of re-engaging after the holiday, what can I prioritize? Well, instead of saying, here's what I'm going to prioritize, what can help me prioritize? So detangling prioritization. So what is the big picture of where we're at right now? And can I articulate that? I would articulate it right now as we're in another, getting to act two, and in act two, getting to the next level. At Mimecast, also, we're still stuck in IQVIA of trying to help people see the broader value. And then the bigger picture is, yes, there's a lot of progress being made, but there's a lot of work that I can do to help clarify tangles and help Catalyst with what he needs to plug that in to the broader work. And then in the big picture, how do I not just go into random activity, right? So, and then what am I doing to focus on the 80-20? What's the 20% that's going to move the 80%? So do I know what those are? Usually I have blind spots on these two, right? So it impacts my prioritization, because sometimes I feel like I'm missing part of the bigger picture, or maybe I don't allow myself to relate to it is more like it. I think conceptually I understand it, but do I empathize with it? And then on the 80-20, I see all of it, all the complicatedness. So what's the 20% that I need to focus on? And I probably need to write that down. I need to write those things down. But in building out those inventories, I struggle with writing down the wrong stuff. I end up in minutia. So prioritization is usually a challenge for me. And then embracing the journey, right? Like this is the reality. This is what other people are focused with in our clients. This is what they struggle with. And am I going to just jump into my inbox and start doing stuff, or am I going to be a little intentional, right? Because that's what prioritization is about, is this idea of being intentional. And then I think being intentional leads to what Catalyst always talks about and harps on, which is discipline and staying disciplined and building something elegant. So to me, it starts today with this idea of what am I prioritizing and how am I going about it? And that's the principle there of leading with me in my trying to get plugged in and re-enter after the long weekend. I had a lot of family time, and coming back in this morning, just trying to get my head around what to do, and then putting it out there, having courage, and focusing on the experience and what does it feel like to go through these things with accelerated client time and all these concepts, and how do I detangle myself? So I hope that's helpful for today's Daily Detangler, and look forward to your feedback on that, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.